Residents and farmers alike of Greenwich and surrounding communities on the east bank of Essequibo are all breathing easier today with the commissioning Thursday of a multi-million-dollar pump station that will result in less flooding and loss of crops and livestock. The new pump station was constructed at a cost of $565 million by contractor Rupan Ramatar and overseen by engineering consultants Semco for another $17 million. The new pump station now establishes an independent drainage facility that will handle some 5,000 acres of land area, according to Chairman of the National Drainage and Irrigation Authority, Lionel Wordsworth. It will make a big difference.
This pump station is equipped with two pumping units, capacity of 100 cubic feet per second, and it's mechanically driven, and now it will be commissioned today, and it will left to service Greenwich Park area, which is predominantly cultivated with rice. This project initially was slated for 12 months. A contract was signed on the 11th of November 2021, and works commenced in the very month. It was completed in 2023. Of course, from that time, now you know there were delays associated with the site itself. We had some design changes. However, importantly, the project was completed within the contract sum and achieving all the work activities that was slated under the contract. Along with this project here in Region 3, we have, and across the country, but particularly in Region 3, we have a number of similar type of infrastructure being constructed. Pump station, we have at Port-Rhine, we have at Bellevue, we have at Canal Number 1. Recently at A-Line, we had to do a retender for the A-Line pump station contract. And currently, one of the vulnerable area, Canal Scholar, where we're adding pumps at Bellevue, we're adding at Canal Number 1. We're going to upgrade one of the channel there to give it a third, or rather fourth independent drainage to the Demerara River. Like you have A-Line, Canal Number 1, Canal 2. B-Line will similarly be upgraded to give that area added service.
In his remarks, Director General of the Ministry of Agriculture, Mr. Madan Lal Ramraj, said that while the provision of drainage and irrigation infrastructure is vital, there is more to it.
Why is it important for us to have infrastructure like these? And I know the simple answer would be, of course, to prevent flooding, to ensure water moves from the field out into the ocean in a timely manner, so that you have a kind of drainage system working importantly. But it's far more than that. It is far more than that. Let me give you an example of why it is far more than that. Our first 6 months production has been declared to the Ministry of Finance, to our minister, and we would have seen that all of the areas in terms of agriculture, rice, crops, livestock, we have seen the kind of increase in its production and productivity. And so structure like these assist in achieving what we are doing. Structure in the coming week, I think in the next week or 2 weeks, two similar structures like these will be commissioned on the Essequibo coast. And millions of dollars have been spent across the country in drainage, irrigation, in ensuring that the dams, the canals are clean. And so we continue to work with the emphasis to develop agriculture, to ensure more lands are being cultivated, to ensure that those that are cultivated are being taken care of, to ensure that there are proper drainage, irrigation, and the entire work that is happening. And every part you go in our country, you will see the kind of improvement. Yes, we are not there yet, we are not totally satisfied, but I'm sure with the kind of trajectory that we are moving, the kind of direction we are having from our minister, and from the President, we will get there.
In delivering the feature address, Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa said government recognizes the importance of Region 3 to the nation's efforts at advancing agriculture capacity and will continue investments in further expanding that capacity.
We recognize the value that this region brings to our country's development. We have seen what the contribution that regions like these are making to our country's GDP. And whilst you in Region 3 might be planting approximately 16,000 acres of rice, and other regions like regions 2, 5, 6 might be planting more than that, but you have been making a valuable contribution to our agriculture GDP in terms not only of rice production, but in terms of fruits and vegetables. This region here has been producing a large amount of fruits and vegetables. So much so that the President has decided that when the ferry service starts between Trinidad, Barbados and Guyana, that the ferry will be coming to your region so that we have to have enough produce to put in that ferry to take to the Caribbean. So you have an opportunity, you will have an opportunity to increase your holding, to increase production and productivity. And as a government, we are building the necessary infrastructure so that you can benefit from these infrastructure. What we are doing now in the country, we are trying to develop a comprehensive water management system. Whilst we are building pump stations in Region 3, we are doing this across the country, in all the regions, Region 2, Region 4, 5, 6, you name it, because we want to develop this comprehensive water policy so that we know for a fact that as a country in this part of the hemisphere, climate change today is real, and we have to ensure that we make the necessary investment.
The Agriculture Minister stressed that even as there has been significant growth in all sectors of agriculture during the first half of this year, there is still a ways to go in producing enough to satisfy the demand in the region and beyond.
Whilst, as a government, we have decided that we will increase production. You heard Comrade Ramraj talk about some areas in the first half of the year. We have seen, or we have almost achieved all the targets, or surpassed the targets that were set by the Ministry of Finance. And I'm very optimistic that come year end, we will once again surpass the targets that were set. But the targets that were set are targets that we have increased over the years. For example, in the rice sector, in 2022, we produced 610,000 tons of rice. Last year, with the same amount of acreage that we cultivated, we were able to produce 653,000 tons of rice last year. We have increased sugar production last year by 28%. Livestock sector, we have seen an increase by 11%. In the fruits and vegetable sector, almost 12%. We have seen increase. This year, we have set the target in the rice sector to 710,000 tons. And as the comrade rightly said, we have achieved the first half of the year target already. Although we have seen sugar production decline in the first half of the year because of the conditions, the El Nino conditions that we have experienced, I am very optimistic, and probably the CEO will tell you that the plans that they have, that we will see increased production at the end of the year in the sugar industry too. That tells us a story that the investment that we are making, we are seeing progress. And as a country, although we are producing 60% of the food that we are consuming, we as a government want to ensure that we produce more. That is why we are looking for Guyana to be that food hub, that production center for the Caribbean. We have already embarked on a $14 million food hub to build a food hub on the Linden-Soesdijk Highway. We have signed an MOU with the state of Roraima so that we can partner with them so that we can have that food hub very active. Very shortly, as I mentioned just now, we'll have the ferry service between Guyana, Trinidad and Tobago and Barbados. That will be the first phase. When you look around the Caribbean right now, we are working very aggressively to remove the non-tariff barriers so that we can have our produce go into various Caribbean islands and Caribbean countries. We are also looking not only to export primary products, but we are now putting mechanism in place, putting facilities in place so that we can add value.
Putting a number to the needed increase in production in traditional and high-value crops, Minister Mustafa said it has to be at least tenfold and include value-added production.
Because what we are looking at production. We must increase production tenfold in our country. When we talk about citrus production, when we talk about coconut production, when we talk about coffee production, we must be a center. We must be a hub to produce all these commodities. That is why we are not only concentrating in one area, the traditional areas. We are moving into new areas. Whilst we are trying to increase production in the traditional area like rice, sugar, fruits, vegetables, we are going to new areas. We are now resuscitating our coffee and cocoa industry. We have earmarked the Pomeroon. The Pomeroon was an area which used to produce a large amount of coffee for us. But because of neglect over the years, we have seen a downturn in production there. Once again, what we are doing, we have started now to work with the farmers in that community where we are making that area very productive once again. We have almost done thousands of rods of drainage canal, bed drainage, because with climate change, we have the farmers in those areas normally have floods on a regular basis. What we are doing now, we are lifting their beds and we are doing drains for them. We have 4 excavators in the Pomeroon. We have pontoons in the Pomeroon. That are the kind of investment that we are making. Lionel, the chairman of NDIA, just spoke about what the other pump station that we are building. But more than that, we want to build mega projects. Projects that will help us tremendously in draining our community. You know for a fact that we are below the level of the sea. And sometimes it's very difficult for us to get proper gravity drainage. We might have drainage for a few hours, but with a pump station like these, project like these projects will have 24-hour drainage.
The formal ceremony was followed by the ceremonial cutting of the ribbon and the unveiling of a commemorative plaque. A tour of the facility followed with a demonstration of the pump station's operations.
Moa